Okay, so as we said, the World Health Organization's program cycle takes us through the how, and then the 8 domains take us through the what we might be focusing on. So the 8 domains are the aspects of community life that you want to be considering as you're making your plans. And again, the scale and pace of improvements that you decide to take in each domain will vary. But as is shown in the slide, all 8 domains interlink, but can be viewed as 2 main spheres, covering the built, which is at the top there, and the social environment. So it's important that we pay attention to the needs and perspectives of older people in each of these domains, as it can mean the difference between older age being a barrier or not in a community. So as we go through each of these petals on the age-friendly flower now, we're going to give you a little bit of a flavour of what kind of work might sit in that domain, why it matters, and the impact that some age-friendly interventions could make on a person's ability to age well in your community. There's the built, and there's the social environment. Okay, so we're starting with outdoor environment and buildings. So outdoor environment and buildings have a major impact on our mobility, our independence and quality of life as we age. And you'll often hear a lot of talk about access to places to rest and toilets in this domain, or pews and loos as they call them, both of which can make it easier to be out and about and not just in later life. But it's not just about bricks and mortar. Other work in this area might include cleaning up parks, campaigns against pavement parking, or having clearer signs in public spaces. So outdoor spaces and buildings in an age-friendly community will strive to be safe, accessible and comfortable for older adults. And here's an example of it working well. So with a ramp outside and suitable sitting in the foyer, I'm able to enjoy my regular visits to the theatre. So moving on, affordable, reliable and convenient transport options mean that people can get out and about and continue to do the things that matter to them. So whether it's going shopping or meeting friends or going to an appointment, good transport is essential to everyone, and particularly for people who don't drive. So work in this domain can include encouraging transport providers to consult with older residents, or supporting bus drivers to be more aware of their older passengers' needs. And we'll hear a case study on that later. Suitable transport options in rural communities are especially important. For an older person, this could mean the difference between staying at home and being able to independently do the shopping, for instance, for longer. And the right housing and support can allow people in later life to age comfortably and safely in their community. And we know that this is really important. So more than 80% of people aged 65 and over say they want to stay where they are. And you might find there's already some really great work that's happening in your area in this domain, like home adaptation services, or perhaps a directory of qualified and reliable maintenance workers. We know that poor housing can have a huge impact on health, and we saw that in the State of Ageing video earlier. 10 million people in England are at risk because they live in a poor quality home. But when housing is considered as part of the age-friendly approach, it can help to maintain or improve physical and mental well-being, as well as social connections. Thanks. So now we're moving on from the built environment and onto the social. So social participation. This is the stuff to do that helps people to feel connected. This is the fun stuff. Work in this domain might include things like social groups, events and gatherings, stuff that we know is taking a real knock during COVID, and especially for those who weren't online. But we know that participating in leisure, cultural and spiritual activities in the community is really important for a sense of belonging and good relationships, without which people can experience feelings of loneliness and isolation. So here's an example of it working well. I used to get fed up of eating on my own, but now I help out with a lunch club. I look forward to it and they miss me when I'm not able to make it. Respect and social inclusion. So despite age being a protected characteristic, ageism is prevalent across the country. And experiences of prejudice and social exclusion can be exacerbated when also considering things like culture, gender, health, and economic status. So in this domain, your age-friendly community will be thinking about ensuring all backgrounds are able to actively participate and be respected in your community. So we might see things like options for intergenerational work, so connecting older and younger people, and the use of positive and realistic images in local campaigns, like the images that we're using today. And we can share a link for this image library with you. And two more domains to go after this one. This is civic participation and employment. So the focus of this domain is to provide good quality options for people in later life to continue to contribute to their communities, whether it's through paid work, volunteering, or other means. Good quality volunteering in later life has a measurable positive impact on mental health, and paid work can have a positive impact on well-being as well as finances. Yet the opportunities for this diminish with age. So here's where your work around age-friendly employers or age-inclusive volunteering might sit. So this might include making job adverts more inclusive, ensuring your volunteering policies don't create barriers to particular age groups, or making retraining available for everyone at any age. So another example on the screen here. My employer has supported me to work more flexibly whilst experiencing menopause symptoms. Otherwise, I might have retired. Communication and information. So I think the pandemic has highlighted the importance of this one for all of us. We know that staying connected and getting timely, practical information is important for all of us, and especially as we get older. It's important to have information that's accessible for those with varying resources and abilities. So for example, people who don't have English as a first language, are digitally excluded, or have a sensory impairment. So working in this domain, you might think about making it easier for people in frontline services to know about what's happening in the community so that they can signpost people to what's going on. Another example here, even though I'm not online, I'm not out of touch. I get a newsletter about all of the activities happening in my local community. And finally, as the older population grows in size, the need for community support and health services grows too. And this domain is strongly connected to good health and well-being throughout life, alongside accessible and affordable healthcare services. So here's where work happens to keep people healthy and cared for in the community. For your age-friendly community, it could look like promoting Dementia Friends awareness, support groups to manage long-term conditions, or working with leisure providers to ensure they're catering to older residents too. So if this was working well in your age-friendly community, an older person might say, I love attending classes at the village hall, which I started to help me build up strength after my recent hip surgery. So thanks for staying with us through the 8 domains, and we hope you found some of those examples helpful. We're now going to go into breakout groups and think a little bit more about each of these domains. So in your breakout groups, we're going to give you a persona of an older person. I want you to take a few minutes to read through this persona and then discuss with your group what the needs and concerns of that person might be under the different domains. I'll have about 10 minutes for this task, and then we'll come back into the main room. But again, you'll be greeted by a facilitator who'll be able to talk you through the exercise. And see you in about 10 minutes. Thank you very much.